All right, welcome back to Modern Agent Conversations, where you can learn everything that you need to know to grow your real estate business. You can learn the top real estate strategies, success, sales, and marketing secrets for real estate agents. You can learn everything you need to know to work smarter instead of working harder so that you can make more money in less time and you can have a great real estate business and a great life while you're doing it. So today we got Monica on the show, my lovely wife, my counterpart. And she is my secret weapon. In fact, she's the reason I got into real estate because she had such a great skill set that I could take advantage of as an agent. So she is a very accomplished digital marketer. In fact, I don't know anybody else in the industry that has the skill sets that she has, both a broad skill set as far as doing a lot of different things and a deep skill set and getting down into the details and technically doing the things, optimizing every aspect of the digital marketing. So she's run real estate lead generation campaigns to generate buyer and seller leads that we've worked and personally closed hundreds of thousands of dollars of deals from the leads that she's generated. She's also worked for one of the largest real estate corporations, one of the largest real estate companies in the entire country, and helped lead them through a digital marketing redesign to rebrand the company, to do their global websites, and to work at a very high level corporately in the real estate industry. And on top of that, she's run huge social media channels with millions of subscribers and millions and millions and millions of views every single month. So across the gamut of marketing, she is, I don't know anybody else that's as accomplished as she is in all of those things. I'm sure there's people that know one specialization very well. But today she's sharing her thoughts on where we're at in this moment in the market and where it's taking us, right? Because the industry is changing very, very quickly. And to stay modern means that you have a chance of surviving and thriving, even as other agents are trying to figure out what to do next, right? So she's going to be talking about what we're going through with the lawsuits, AI, technology, and where that's taking us. And you're going to learn a ton from it. So let's dive in and enjoy. Well, I've been excited to share some of this because you've got a really cool background that I think a lot of people don't have access to. I get the benefit, but I want to share your
Yeah,
wealth of information. Is it all right if I give a little bit of a background on
yeah,
the things
go for it.
that you've done?
Yeah,
So I've met a lot of agents, but I've never met someone that has the width and the depth of expertise that you have because you've done so many things inside of digital marketing in the real estate
yeah,
space.
yeah,
You've created thousands of leads for us to call. You've built property websites. You've worked for one of the largest real estate corporations in the country. You've run a huge digital media platform with millions and millions of subscribers and hundreds of millions of views or whatever you guys get a month. So it's a lot of stuff, but all applied to real estate.
yeah,
And so there's a lot that agents can learn right
yeah,
now because this is one of the pathways forward.
right.
So for agents that are looking to be modern and take a fresh approach
Yeah,
and to lead the industry, how do you think they should be thinking about marketing, digital
yeah,
marketing, all the above?
yeah. And it's a good question. And of course, you and I obviously we've talked about this a lot, but a lot of agents are afraid of marketing, right? They say, "Oh, well, I came in to just sell homes. Like, why do I need to market?" And it's so important. And this is stuff that I told you early on, as I saw you doing real estate. I'm like, what you're doing is just taking a lot of time. And how, like, what's the return on the amount of like time that you're putting in? And this is actually what digital marketing is all about, right? Because now marketing in old school ways, like a lot of people still do it and it's still very effective, right? Like, the in-person things or like even postcards, they're still a great way, but there's a spin that like being a modern agent now is about using technology, leveraging the fact that you can actually track. I mean, and this is stuff that we've done. We can track how many views, how many people, like your input versus the output, right? You are able to say, I spent this much money, I got this much out. I spent this much time and I got this much out,
Right.
right? Um, and so anyway, it's so important. And now with the NAR settlement going on, I think it's ever more important that agents, like, they're not afraid of marketing, right? And this is like the stuff that I would tell you all the time. I'm like, don't be afraid, just lean into it, right? And in fact, like, open up your eyes. What can you see and what can you do to get ahead of the settlement, right? And I think that's like that's probably the biggest thing that I see from a marketing perspective is like, don't be afraid of it. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean you have to like I don't know, like ignore that it exists, because ever more important now, like the agents that really embrace the marketing, embrace the digital space, and embrace the modern techniques and ways that new agents are doing, those are the ones that will really win. They'll stick around, and the ones that don't, I think, slowly will
Yeah.
sadly phase out,
Yeah, you either have to lead the change or you will be overtaken by
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
And I think, it's interesting. We always talk about how, you're marketing, I'm sales inside of our business because you have a deep marketing background.
yeah,
I've got a very extensive sales background.
yeah,
And I was always very proud of that until I read, yeah, I think it's in one of Tim Ferriss's books where he says, a good marketer will beat a good salesperson every single time because marketing is a one to many
yeah,
activity. Sales is one to one, right? And so you've got a limiting factor on your time.
yeah,
And that was probably a breakthrough point for me to understanding the importance of marketing as a category
yeah,
because it's so easy to be just focused on sales, your next client, the conversation that you're in, and miss the strategy
yeah.
that can open up, that can unlock your time because you're not just talking to one person, you're talking to a lot of people. And that's the only way to scale, right?
Yeah, and it's difficult because sales is, like you said, it's like you're in the moment, and it's a it's a constant hustle. And
Yeah.
in real estate, this is what you saw when we first got started. Like you were just doing so much, and that's how I had my digital marketing background, and I'm like, hey, that there's smarter ways of doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, did you get out what you thought was, like, what you put into it? And this is where I think, like you're saying, it's super important, because in marketing now, it's interesting, because there's, like you said, there's a difference between sales and marketing, right? And in marketing, you're actually doing a lot of pre-work. Actually, it's working. That's the smart, right? You're doing a lot of work before. It's thinking about, like, how you are not just going to sell the property that you're listing, right? And that's the two types of marketings, right? There's the marketing a property, which many agents are what they might be used to, right? And then there's the marketing yourself as an agent, and I think that's going to be even more important, again, as we talk about the NAR settlement, because you have to be good at both, right? And you have to be able to differentiate yourself from everybody else, and also differentiate the way that you sell homes from everybody else, because I don't know, in my opinion, I think most agents now are going to want to become seller agents, which is going to make the whole, market for agents wanting to get listings even more competitive.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, I think that brings with it a whole bunch of opportunity for those willing to lean into the marketing, and I think also a lot of challenges for those that resist it.
Yeah. I think, as agents become more focused on listings on the seller side of the transaction, it's going to become more competitive and
Yeah.
more important, more critical. So let's talk about that because I think that's probably the most immediately applicable
Yeah.
aspect of digital marketing to
Yeah.
agents. So, and you mentioned something I thought was a really good way of thinking about it. You said you're marketing two separate things, right? You said you're
Yes.
marketing your business,
Yeah.
you as an agent or your team or your brokerage, your real estate business
Yeah.
to get clients.
Yeah.
And then separate from that, you're marketing properties. They're distinct skill
Yeah.
sets, even though they can use a lot of the same tools and strategies.
Yeah.
So let's talk about marketing properties first,
Okay.
because I think people will get the most value out of it in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
That's our sauce. So when you think about marketing a
Yeah.
property,
Yeah.
what are some of the keys to success from your perspective? I'm going to jump in because I've got my own thoughts, but
Okay. Do you want to jump in immediately, or do you want me to go for it?
why don't you give a couple of thoughts and then I'll chime in as well.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, if you're focusing, first of all, like focusing on being a seller's agent, right? So like if you do a good job with a listing, first of all, it starts there, right? So like being a valuable agent. So before, I feel like, like agents got a bad rep, right?
Yeah.
Especially like before the NAR settlement. And this will be even more important. Again, all this is more important now, especially because there's a perception that agents aren't needed, right? Especially with sellers wanting to sell their own homes, or even now many of them don't want to negotiate. So I think it's going to be really important to, first of all, do a good job marketing the property. And if you market the property correctly, you position it well, you do the work upfront marketing it,
Right.
I think that's going to be the first benefit, right? So the first benefit I would see is just being able to market it very, very well, and then as a result, there's other things that are going to trickle from it.
Yeah, and I think, when agents are looking at a specific property, obviously they're trying to maximize their success doing it. The technical skills of listing a property are different than the technical skills of buying a property, right? So like buyer's agents all about working hard, building a relationship, being there for your client, knowing the market,
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. Whereas listing a property takes a
Yeah.
technical marketing skill set.
Yes.
You got to know what matters in
Yeah.
a listing, otherwise you're going to struggle, right? And sometimes we get lucky with a seller's market where you put a sign in the yard and it
Right.
sells in 24 hours and you think you're a great agent, your
Or the
client thinks
neighborhood's
you're a great
hot and
agent,
everybody, yeah.
right? So a lot of agents have been able to sell homes without being good at
Yeah.
listing homes. Listing a house is a very technical marketing skill set these days. So there's a lot of things that go into listing a home for success. I know we always talk about when we do our 80/20, the most important focal point of the listing is oftentimes is the listing cover photo, right? So let's talk about some of the things that we've done there to find success on a listing cover photo.
Yeah, I mean, so it's user psychology, right? So you like marketing is often based in like behavior and psychology, right? So we a lot of the times will do a composite photo, right? And this is stuff that you'll
Right.
be like, hey, can you help me with this image? And it's really easy, right? There's programs out there that will make an image for you. So a lot of this, especially as agents are like, oh, I don't know, this technology is too complicated. It's really not. That's why I say lean into it, right? Because there's a lot of things that you can do to like just give you a little bit of edge, right? So to market a property effectively, you want to the composite image and really highlight like, hey, what could be some, if I'm putting myself in the buyer's shoe, what would I want to know, right? It's always
Right.
coming from that value standpoint, right? So how can I think of myself as the buyer and the buyer's agent and really try to position that, like in this case, you're the picture, like what are the best angles, what are the best features of the home that you can highlight quickly with that first composite image. It's something simple, but I think again, as people are scrolling the endless scroll of potential properties, you want something, marketing, right, is about that edge. You want something that will stop the scroll
Yeah.
and make that house stand out. And that as an agent, again, small detail, you that fixes the first part of the finding property,
Yeah.
especially if someone's
'Cause
looking.
nothing matters if they don't click, right?
100%.
If
Yep.
they just keep going, everything else is lost, right?
Exactly.
You lost the listing, you lost the buyer, you lost all the work you put in the description.
Yep.
So we spend a lot of time optimizing that
Yep.
first image because you see the image before you see the description. It's the only thing you see in
Well,
many cases,
and
right?
one other thing here actually is like the photos. I mean, you're a phenomenal listing agent, right? And you always say that like you haven't lost a presentation yet, right? And it's funny from my perspective because that's, yes, some sales goes into it, but the positioning that we always give to sellers is really very strong. And one of them being even just the pictures. Again, perception, right? And so from the very beginning, if you skimp on photos as an example,
Yeah.
like how are you presenting the home? Are you presenting is the home going to stand out? It's not. And you end up shooting yourself
Right.
in the foot because you don't want to spend the money up front, but you're hurting yourself.
And the bar keeps rising for
Yes, and there's
photos and
there's
videos
great
and all these
photographers
things.
now. Like
Yeah.
investing in great photos and finding a good photographer, that will set your listing apart from all of them. It's easy cheat code.
So something that you said, I think is probably it's the key to stopping the scroll and the key to capturing their attention, and that is finding the things that drive the value of that home. Maybe it's on a lake,
Right.
maybe it's got a great yard,
Yes.
maybe it's got a good master bedroom but the
Yep.
front of the house is ugly,
Yeah.
right? So maybe it's got solar, whatever the things are. When you go through the list, what are the things that people are going to care about most? You got to make sure that those are highlighted on that cover photo. If it's an assumable mortgage, put some text on there that says it's assumable, right? So, whatever those key things that are going to make this a juicy opportunity for the buyer, for the buyer's agent, Like, get it onto the cover photo. And sometimes it's a composite image that shows off multiple angles of it.
Sometimes it's not.
And sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an aerial shot that shows the pool in the
Well,
backyard or the proximity to whatever.
and this is where the marketing is so important. Again, if you really think about it from a marketing perspective, you're really trying to what's that competitive edge, right? And again, this is we're talking here like in terms of selling a home, right? But your personal like services and you as an agent is just as important on the marketing perspective, right? Because then you use that listing, you have then now sold the home. Let's say you sold the home and you sold it well, you're going to get two things from a home that you sold well. One, you're proud of the home, so you can actually showcase it to get other listings. And I know this is something that we do. We literally do a great job on the listing, and then you use that to then sell the next client on using you as the agent because they saw that you did a great
Yeah.
job. And so then that creates another benefit because then you do a good job up front. You then now use your story because we heard this one day it's like listings have babies.
Yep.
So like you do a good job and then people talk about it, and then now that's the third benefit, right? Because then now people are talking about it, they want to refer you because they're so happy with the way that you marketed their property. They're proud of the way that you showcase their home because that's still their home.
Yeah,
That's still the place where they
they're
hold their
associated.
memories.
They're attached to it.
Yeah, and if you
Emotionally, their ego, their
yes,
psychology.
and if it makes it feel unimportant to them, like if you as the agent don't prioritize the way that you're showing their home, you're telling them you don't care.
Right.
And that's why, again, it comes down to marketing. Like agents don't think about this. They're like, oh, I'm just going to sell a home. What do people do? Oh, they just put a for sale sign, put it in the MLS, and what else? And there's so many things that you can do now. There's so many tools. Like we use a lot of really great tools for you to record your face and send a quick personalized video showcasing some of these examples and things that you've done for other clients. What's that? That's digital marketing. That's saving you time, by the way. That meant that you didn't have to just go and drive and meet with the person and like take some like 2-3 hours. No, that's like time that we got back for you to hang out with our kids. That's so important to me, and that's why I think I'm so passionate about like digital marketing and the whole space because it's really changing. Well, it's changed our lives the way that you've done real estate, especially from
For
when you
sure.
first got started, and then it's just got so much potential to bring back balance, and you're able to just do more with less, if that makes sense. And it doesn't have to be a grind, and I think this is one of our main things is like we're so passionate about. But like bringing that balance, and like the tools that we use are just amplifiers to the work that you're already doing. So yes, we use the video and you can do that, and we have other like things that we use to like, hey, how can we like let the word out, and so of what we just did with the neighborhood. So then whether we do a postcard with then a QR code that then goes to a video that you did personalized that says, hey, I just sold this home and blah 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 blah, and now you're able to capture these leads from old school methods by using new approaches. And that's like the really cool thing. And this is why I think that digital marketing and the agents that lean into this whole change with NAR, and even if you're not, if you still focus on buyers become sellers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
even more so, being able to highlight your value in the marketplace, whether it's buyers, whether it's sellers, it doesn't matter. It'll all come down to your ability to market yourself, your value, and your services to a potential buyer or even seller.
Yeah. You said a couple of things that I think are really kind of critical. You said it really fast. So let me go back and pick up what I caught from you, right? You said, if you do a good job
Yeah.
listing your property, there's additional benefits to doing that,
Yeah.
right? Benefit number one is you've spent less time selling the house, right?
Yeah.
So if you do the work up front, you don't have to deal with a listing that sits and doing open houses for 4 months, right? So really positioning it allows you to do more listings in less time, get that balance back, right? Listings are generally less time intense than showings, or than buyer working with buyer clients doing showings, doing all those things. So it's one of those things where if you focus on that, it has the balance factor for your time, for your life, a lot of other things, and then it lets you showcase your ability to get results because you got good results focusing on the listing. So we're going to spend a lot of time in the future talking about listing mastery, the technical details of applying digital marketing to the listing process. And then you get the additional benefit of getting people call you, right? That come list me phone call that everyone dreams of, like, hey, I'm moving, come list my house. They don't shop you around, they don't ask for competition.
Yep.
It comes from getting great results and then showcasing those great results to other people and making it easy for your clients to showcase those results,
Well, and then if
right?
you do a good job marketing yourself post the purchase
Yeah,
or the sale, then now again you're just warming, you're keeping people warm all the time. You're branding yourself, right? This is where again now the personal marketing comes into place again. And then if they move, or if their brother's moving, or if their sister's moving, now they're thinking of you because you're in communication with them and you're actually like just staying in touch enough to just be there if they need you. And
yeah.
that's so important with marketing and all of these things that you said. There's just so many benefits, and I'm excited to talk about all of it. I know you and I are very passionate about bringing that balance back to agents.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the best thing that you can use, people oftentimes wonder, like, well, what do I say with my marketing? What am I trying to say? The shortcut to that is using your results. Work really hard to get some results that you
Yeah.
can showcase, and then you have great things to use in your marketing materials.
Yep.
Then you add in the systems, the scale, the deliverability, and then that marketing starts bringing people that want to talk to you, which is it's much easier to talk to someone that wants to talk to you than to become so skilled at sales that you can
Yeah.
turn people that don't want to talk to you
No.
into people that do want to talk
And
to
really
you.
focusing on your client. Again, I always say if you focus on value and giving value and providing a great experience, it's always going to come back. It's just a matter of then having the amplifier, aka the marketing, to then be able to let everybody else know that you do provide these great services. And then it just snowballs. And we've seen it happen, right?
Yeah. So we talked about the listing photo and some things that we can do there. You were starting to chat about, some of the ways to use methods for showcasing video all around the process, right? So using video for the property is one thing, right? But using video communication tools in your communication with
Right.
the listing,
Yeah.
with the property owner before you get the listing,
Yeah.
to get it.
Yeah.
Then using video to communicate with the property owner during the listing process, listing reports, updates, everything like that. And using video to communicate with buyers, buyer agents, right? This is one of our, I think,
Favorite tools, yeah.
one of my favorite things that we always say is leave nothing to chance, right? We list the property so well that it makes the case for the buyer's agent, right? So we'll even put together videos for the buyer's agent to give to their client so that they can get great results and actually setting up the showing and doing the showing. So um, what are some of any other tools that come to mind? Any other things? I know you've got an arsenal, 1,000 tools that you use. Any favorites that we should chat about now, or is that a topic for another day, do you think?
I'm sure we'll talk about it another day. I mean, we use Berrycast, and we can show add it to one of the links here. But Berrycast just lets you have your face, and then we then share your screen. So that's you might be familiar with that. We also have like a fun widget where we put on our website where you have a video that like when you come on the website, there's like a little bubble that comes up, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. But like it's you personalizing it to them specifically to the page that they landed on. So it's like, hey, I'm Alan, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And this is like the fun part because again, it's creating a user experience. It's also showing them you're a little bit different, right? Like no, I don't know a lot of agents that are doing this. So like again, marketing is all about that competitive edge. How are you doing things differently that's making you stand like apart from that? So that's another great tool that we use. But we use a lot, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it here in like future videos and talks that we do.
Yeah, yeah, and you're really smart about using pixels to capture custom audiences and doing all those things.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a little bit more advanced, but it really cuts down on the amount of money that you have to spend on your advertising and the effectiveness.
And it's really the mentality of, are you tracking your results, right? So many agents spend so much money, so much time doing things, right? And like my biggest thing is like, are you measuring your results? Are you looking at what's your input versus output? What's your ROI on that? And you hear me talking about all that all the time, because if you can figure out how to get the most out of the input that you do, that's when you win. And like the marketing is really the one to many, or the hack to bringing it back a lot of the time. And the tools and the software now and the stuff that's going on with AI and marketing and AI and real estate is just huge. Over the next couple of years, it's going to be a game changer. Even just making your description of your house the house you're selling sound good, right? Or even if you're like, I'm not good at writing a bio about myself, like feed it that and tell it to make it sound like a normal person, there's so many cool applications that I know we'll talk about as well. But like, again, the biggest thing that I would say is really just leaning into the marketing, understanding that there are two different kinds of marketing, right? It's like the properties and yourself as the agent, and really like staying ahead of the curve, because most agents are afraid of marketing or they're afraid of the changes. But like, controlling your mindset during these next couple of months and preparing for what's to come by leaning into like what can you do versus what can't you do.
Right.
I think that's going to be the biggest differentiator, and I'm excited to talk more with you about the different ways that agents and realtors can do this as these changes are happening, and the ways that they can bring back balance into their life, because I know that that's a big deal for us.
Yeah. There's so many benefits to that. It's the best way to future proof your business
Yeah.
against the lawsuits,
Yeah.
against whatever changes are
Yeah.
happening in the industry, against the technology changes. What's cool is that those technology changes are going to supercharge us
Yeah.
as agents, and it's also going to give you back more balance in your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So, we'll adapt all of these things for marketing strategy,
Yes.
marketing tips,
There's
marketing
so much. Yeah.
tools,
There's so much.
real estate marketing, the whole power pack. We'll get more into this in the
Yeah.
future.
We'll
But
talk more, guys.
for now, hope that's helpful. Hey, thanks for joining us for today's conversation with Monica. We were just getting warmed up. We've got so much more to share, and we have a ton of things that are going to help you grow your business. Some of the best real estate tips, tricks, strategies, technology. We're going to be talking about where AI is taking us as it's being embedded into all of the real estate tools, so that what are the best real estate tools to use with your different real estate strategies and marketing. We're going to dig deep into the sales. So subscribe to the channel. You're going to want to know all the things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to have some of the best and brightest minds in the business right here to help you grow your business, teach you everything that you need to know. Our goal is to do it quickly, intelligently, concisely, so that you can have a better life using real estate as a way to do it. We'll see you next time.